This is a response to the last video that I made where I talked about atheism and the problem of low entropy. In other words, the problem of a highly ordered state at the beginning of the universe. Got a disappointing response overall from the atheist community. Some of the comments were okay, some of them were a little too technical and I didn't fully understand them. But some of them were just plain rude. And I mean, you're free to be rude if you want. It's disappointing because if you knew me a little better before you commented, you would see that you have a huge ally in someone like me. If you had read, for instance, part 1 of my forthcoming book, I, Universe, you would see a damning critique of religion that you would be, I think personally, you would really like. But I suppose we get into problems when we take a deeper dive into the nature of reality, and my view of it isn't maybe quite in line with yours. But I'm just sorry that some of you thought you were dealing with someone who is stupid, because I'm not stupid. I mean, here's one comment. Sorry, can you give me your definition of atheism because you don't seem to understand it? Atheism is the non-belief in God or gods. See, I do understand it. He goes on to say, entropy is not a problem for atheism. Really? Atheism is not about entropy, hence the request for a definition. So, okay, atheism is not specifically about entropy, but you are confronted with a universe of structured, ordered phenomena that requires explanation. So what is your explanation? Now, I get that atheism is just making a statement about what is not true, but does the question of what is actually true, or just the question of origin, does that not interest you at all as an atheist? If not, why not? I mean, entire books have been written about atheism. It's got to mean more than just a textbook definition. And you see, the thing that you're trying to make me believe here is that atheism is just this textbook definition, but it's not. It's more than that. It has baggage, and you know it has baggage. And some of the baggage that atheism carries is a heavy reliance on science, which is not a bad thing, right? Science is terrific. I'm not going to disrespect science. But it tends to also go hand in hand with a view that this is a deterministic universe, an entirely deterministic universe, that everything that is real can ultimately be reduced to equations, and that we will be able one day to wrap up an entire model of the universe, a theory of everything, with a set of equations. Now that's a philosophical premise, and it may well be one that doesn't reflect reality. You just don't know. And it's an unfortunate tendency among atheists that some of the time, maybe even most of the time, dare I say, they tend to think disparagingly of philosophy like it's unimportant. The way some of them talk, you would think they would be prepared to happily take the entire philosophy section of the library and just throw it in the trash as meaningless. And the word metaphysics isn't generally liked. So atheism, in practice, it does go hand in hand with that highly scientific, materialistic, deterministic view of the universe. It's just blind energy. And whatever we see that comes out of this blind energy, such as us, it's just a very sophisticated manifestation of that blind energy. I don't accept that premise. I think it's irrational. I don't know why you don't see it as irrational. You see, yes, atheism is just saying there are no God or gods. But my friend Heather was flirting with calling herself an atheist, and we were having a discussion at one point, and I was suggesting to her that the term pantheist might be more appropriate, because she shared a similar outlook to me, where she saw divinity at the heart of everything, but that divinity was kept very abstract and undefined, not like a personal God. Her background is Mormonism, mine's Christianity, and we've both come out of that completely. We're not monotheists. So I tried to encourage her, and I said to her that, you may find that your viewpoint isn't all that appreciated in the atheist community. And she did find that out. I don't know if she calls herself an atheist still. Hi, Heather, by the way, you're probably watching. But that's the channel Lyrical Orion, if anybody wants to take a look at her channel. Yeah, so there's baggage to atheism. You have to admit that. Yeah, there really is. So what I'm proposing to atheists is, how do you account for the highly ordered state? Order requires explanation, disorder does not, because disorder is what the order becomes when subjected to entropy, right? So if we rewind and go back in time, I'm just going over the same ground as last time, it's more and more ordered. So where did the original order come from? Let's take a look maybe at some more comments here. Give me a second, I'll just try to find some of the more interesting ones. Again, someone else says entropy has absolutely nothing to do with atheism. Atheism is essentially nothing more than saying, I don't believe you, when people claim that gods exist. You're welcome. You see the way he's talking to me, as if he's talking to some kind of moron or something? Someone says, entropy always increases with time. Yes. Time was not existent before the Big Bang, therefore entropy does not apply to the universe in its first microseconds. Okay, first of all, you don't know that time was not existent before the Big Bang. You can't get on the other side of the singularity to know. You just can't. You're stating a philosophical position. You're not offering anything to back it up. You're just making it like it's a definitive truth. It's not. Therefore, entropy does not apply to the universe in its first microseconds. It's kind of like a cop-out. You have to explain the low entropy state that occurs, and you can't just get out of it by saying it doesn't apply in the first microseconds. The whole thing about time here as well, let's address this for a second. Time was not existent before the Big Bang. I've given considerable thought to time. The problem is the Big Bang happened, right? So in order for something to happen, you must have time. Because if there is no time, nothing can happen. So an event requires time. Do you see? So for time to exist, there must be time for it to exist. And I'm not just throwing some kind of absurd statement out there as a way of kind of derailing this. It's a real serious philosophical dilemma. And I've thought about it a lot, and I get out of that by the view that there is no such thing as time. There is just the present moment in a continual state of flux without memory of what went before. Time isn't stretched out like a dimension that has all these layers that are somehow stored somewhere like a big film reel. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but I've given considerable thought to time. That little anecdote is not good enough. Okay, what else have we got here? I saw the title of this video and was excited to have my atheism finally beaten out of me, but I was left thoroughly disappointed. I stopped reading. It's a big long comment. I stopped reading it at that point because I'm not interested in dealing with people who just seek to antagonize from the get-go, or indulge in this pointless posturing. Not interested. Why do you do it? Why do atheists behave this way? Is it because they're so used to just dealing with Christians or something like that? Where it's like, And I see this all the time. I see this in the atheist community, channels upon channels full of dedicated entirely to just poking Christians in the eye or poking various monotheists in the eye. What does it accomplish? I mean, there's one channel by a Christian, and I used to think it was a fairly decent channel, called Inspiring Philosophy. But lately, that guy, I don't know what his name is, but I'll call him Inspiring Philosophy, he started posting all kinds of rubbish on Facebook that were just these little subtle jibes at atheists. And the effect that it had on me as a non-believer, don't call myself an atheist, but we have a lot in common, right? The effect that it had on me was I just wanted to switch off. I just wanted to go, oh, you're just turning yourself into, what's the word? I don't know. He revealed that he had no interest in educating me about anything. And if you're an atheist watching this, and that's how you behave to monotheists, like you have no interest in educating them, what are you doing? What are you trying to achieve? And I'll admit, I've had my little joke at their expense once in a while, but I don't dedicate my whole channel to something like this. So why attack me? Why talk to me like you're talking to some sort of moron when that's not the case? Why do it? Disappointing. So, let's see. Yeah, somebody referred to me just a typical theist. No, I'm not a typical theist. I don't go to bed and say my prayers to God so he'll protect me and work out his plan for my life. That's all the past for me. I am essentially, practically speaking, an atheist in the fact that I don't believe in a personal God, and that's what most atheists, if not all of them, are responding to. They're against the belief in a personal God, an anthropomorphic deity, one that you can pray to, one that is an actual mind, a kind of human-like consciousness that is good and is your father and is your judge and all these other things. No, I've done away with all of that. So pantheism, which is what I subscribe to, is a close cousin to atheism. Pantheism redefines God not as a character, but as the mysterious essence that is the ground of being for everything. So a pantheist sees divinity, and that word is very abstract to a pantheist. Pantheist sees divinity in everything. It's like, if you could just rip a hole in reality in front of you, there'd be something there that's incomprehensible, a kind of unified something, but not a personal God. You could loosely call it intelligence, but you'd have to use that word very abstractly because I'm not talking about like a brain. We can't conceptualize what it is, but we accept that it is there. Why? Because we are confronted with a universe of structured, ordered phenomena that requires explanation, and atheism doesn't provide one. That strict view that everything is just going to be reduced to an equation, it doesn't work to explain the universe. And it's based on a very subtle hubris. This view that somehow a human mind with all of its limits has some kind of entitlement to be able to understand all this. A goldfish can't understand it. A dog can't understand it. No other creature can understand it. Why can a human understand it all? Why would you expect a human to be able to understand it all? Now you can come back at me and you can say, that's beyond the scope of atheism. I'm not talking about atheism per se. I'm just addressing you as a fellow human being who takes a metaphysical position. What is your explanation for how there is a highly ordered state in the universe? I mean, I can stare at static on a TV screen until I'm 70 years old. and it's just going to be static. I suppose there's a chance that that static might take the shape of something that appears ordered, but it'll probably quickly disappear again. So the only explanation that atheists seem to put forward is the multiverse one. It's the one where there was lots and lots of universes, and one of them, the conditions were just right to support galaxies and planets and life. That's a tough sell, and I don't see why you don't see that that's a tough sell. It's like, here you are, and you won the most unlikely of unlikeliest lotteries. But here, more than that, I can understand if you want to take that position. I can understand that. I can appreciate that. But for you to come to me and say that the view that there is a higher order, taking that position, for you to come at me as if that's a stupid position, it's nothing like a stupid position. It seems to me far more rational that there is a higher order to reality than just this. What's not to like? I don't know. So anyway, I made a video along these lines a long time ago, which was called "Why I Am Not an Atheist." It was a companion video to "Why I Am Not a Christian," and I may have covered some of the same ground in this video. I'm not sure, but well, atheists, you haven't changed my mind on anything, and if you've done anything, you've made me less inclined to want to call myself an atheist, put it that way. Yeah, you know, you can join Facebook groups about atheism, and you can join Facebook groups about pantheism, and the kind of content that you get in both of these groups is vastly different. Yeah. I don't have a cold, dead, nihilistic view of life, the universe, and everything. I have one that is, I wouldn't say hopeful necessarily in the sense that there's something to hope for later, like an afterlife. No. I just have one that sees, I don't even want to say a grand plan, because essentially it's all about just being here doing this. But essentially, this divine universe wanted to be here doing this. That's the only way I can put it. And that makes sense to me. Sorry if it doesn't make sense to you, but I guess I might get a bit more static from the atheist community. I probably haven't achieved much with this video, but we'll see. I'll probably not get into any debates in the comments, because judging by the attitudes presented, I don't think there's a lot of point. Anyway, all right, folks, take care.